So camera gear evolves fast, but not always in the direction that we expect, and several brands might be shifting their strategies and teasing new releases. We also might have a few surprises coming from new players in the market, so let's jump in and talk about it. So first up, we might be getting more lenses on the horizon from Viltrox, and the speculation is heating up. And according to SonyAddict.com, Viltrox has scheduled a lens announcement for later this month. The details still tightly under wraps. Whether it's an expansion for their Sony E or Nikon Z mount lenses, or even getting back into the Canon RF space, which we heard Viltrox was one of the brands that were kind of pre-approved given the red carpet treatment from Canon. There's no confirmation yet on which mounts or models will be added. They just launched, or were rumored to launch, their f2 200mm prime, and Viltrox has struggled with Canon RF compatibility. So this is just a quick bit of little news, not a lot to share, but I just want to let you know I'm going to be watching it as things develop. But next, on the Canon side of things, they might be addressing a gap in their beginner-friendly lens lineup. They recently filed a patent application published in August, which appears to outline a new entry-level full-frame kit lens for their RF system. Kit lenses don't necessarily have the best reputation, but today's designs are better and sharper and lighter than they've been in the past. And good or bad, a lot of times they are the first lens that we get with a new camera. And they're essential for newcomers who are stepping into full-frame photography. Now, based on the patent details, Canon's potential new kit zoom would occupy the sweet spot between the current RF 24 to 50mm, and that's an f4.5 to f6.3, and their 24 to 105 variable aperture, the 4 to 7.1 lens. So it extends the zoom range compared to the more compact 24 to 50, but is a little more portable than the 24 to 105. Now, key specs from the patent include a focal length ranging from 24.86 to 68.13. Normally when these patents end up in products, they're gonna call that 24 to 70, I think. With an aperture value of 4.12 to 7.31, that'll probably end up being a f4 to 7.1, and a physical length between 102 and 104 millimeters. Now, there's no official production model to talk about necessarily, but Canon's patent filing signals that the brand is at least exploring new ways to cater entry-level and enthusiast full-frame users who don't want to stretch for premium L-series glass, or even their newer fixed aperture f2.8s that they've been releasing that are L adjacent, like that new 24 to 70, or actually I think it's a 28 to 70 f2.8. So if this lens arrives, it could offer a balanced alternative to a lot of users, and could be what we see paired with cameras like the R8, right? Entry-level full framers. Next, and I promise I've been telling you all that I am working on a Canon versus Sony cinema segment, or cinema, I think it just needs to be its own video now, but we need to talk about cinema cameras for just a minute, because Canon and Sony they're doing this, especially at the entry level with their vlogging cameras, and things could potentially get a lot more interesting next month. According to CanonWatch.com, Canon is rumored to be developing a dedicated APS-C cinema EOS camera, likely aimed directly at the FX30. We talked about a similar camera back in the spring when it was proposed that we would get an R7 Mark II and potentially an R7V, which I still think is going to happen, and I think that's actually really what we're talking about here. But in the same way that the R50 is kind of going towards the entry-level vlogging cameras, the ZV series on the Sony side of things, I think the FX series, at least the entry level, right, the FX30 and the FX3, or the FX2 really, I think those cameras need some competition from Canon, because they have an extremely strong position among indie filmmakers and content creators. Now, rumor has it that Canon's new Cinema EOS APS-C model will prioritize a brand new sensor with fast readout speeds, reportedly similar to the R1 flagship. Although apparently not a global shutter, which, as Canon Watch points out, has not reappeared since the C700 GS. Other expected features include, and should not be a surprise, the introduction of a potential tiltable EVF. I don't know where we've seen that before. Robust battery life, specifically for video, as well as a dual SD card slot situation to address workflow and reliability concerns that we've seen in recent bodies like the R5, where content creators might not want CF Express, or they especially don't want two different card slots. Now, Canon has been known to deliver the cripple hammer to a number of its bodies with artificial video restrictions. Think about time limits, think about frame rate not included. I'm shooting on a camera right now that doesn't have 24p, and it is one of their best hybrid video cameras. But the rumor is that a lot of those things would be absent from this new EOS offering, and that they would just kind of give us all of those additional features, expecting an official unveiling in September to coincide with IBC in Amsterdam, which is a major expo for broadcast and cinema technology. Now, if you're serious about cinema workflows or just video in general, if you're a content creator, this could potentially be a strong competitor to Sony's compact camera lineup when it comes to cinema on the FX side. So if you're invested in the Canon ecosystem, you've got lenses, you've got other Canon cameras, you're used to shooting and editing in Canon Log, this could be a huge improvement for you and might be your next upgrade. Now, we're gonna talk more about lenses at the end of the video, but now I wanna kind of switch focus on some lighting. As you may or may not know, I really like Godox lights. I like everybody's lights, but Godox, honestly, I use a lot of their lights more than I use, I think, a lot of other lights. But high-speed studio and outdoor strobe lighting has just been, I think, significantly improved by the release of the AD400 Pro 2, which is the newest member of their Wistro portable strobe family. And according to Petapixel, the AD400 Pro 2 delivers 400 watt-seconds of output and can fire up to 460 full power flashes per charge. It's got a recycle time as low as 0.01 seconds. Let me say that again, 0.01, that's fast. Now, it includes features like high-speed sync up to 1/8,000th of a second, a new freeze mode that shortens flash durations to 1/27,000th of a second for some major motion stopping power. It also has a 30-watt bicolor LED. That's a modeling lamp to help you visualize your scene, and it can range between 2800 Kelvin and 6000 Kelvin depending on the environment that you're going to be in. And it can offer ranges between 10 and 100% brightness. And it has a relatively high CRI and TLCI rating, which means that at 97 and 98 respectively, it's pretty accurate, meaning what you see through the lens is going to be represented when you fire off your flash, which is super important. Not only that your flash is color accurate, but that your modeling lamp, if you're using one, is color accurate relative to your flash. It's got a guide number of 72 and has wireless operation options up to 328 feet with Godox's 2.4 gigahertz X system, and it has new group indicator lights on the unit to help complex setups. The light comes in at 2 kilograms and ships with reflectors, a bag, and a detachable 2600 milliamp lithium battery. That could be paired with extension heads and for flexible setups, and color consistency mode maintains 75K across the power range. The unit also supports multiple modifier mounts for different studio systems. The unit's available now for $649, and honestly, it's positioned pretty well for professionals who want portable, powerful lighting in the field for their studio. I personally shoot with the AD200 Pro Mark II, also part of their Wistro family, and I shoot with the X3 trigger, and they just sent me the V480, which is their on-camera flash, to do some review, and I'll have that video out to you soon. Next, on the content creation front of things, you've heard me talk about Hollyland in the past. I've reviewed a couple of their microphones and some of their other gear here on the channel. They're a super cool company with some really great products. I got to stop by their booth at NAB this year, which was super fun. But one of the other things that they make, in addition to wireless microphones, is they make wireless monitors. And they just released their Pyro 5, designed to kind of streamline things on set. This is a 5.5-inch kind of all-in-one wireless monitor system with a real-time display transmission. It also has proxy recording and camera control with a 1500 nit display, so you can use this thing out in bright outdoor environments. It's got built-in tools like LUTs, waveforms, focus assist, it's got zebras, all the things that you would expect from a modern monitor. And it's a dual band wireless system, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands with automatic frequency hopping. The standout feature is the ability to send one video signal to up to 4 receivers, allowing directors, ACs, clients, crew, really anybody to view live feeds simultaneously up to 400 meters. It can also operate as a multicam switching system, making it a practical and super helpful tool on set. Additionally, for post-production workflows, it does proxy recording and content tagging built in, so you can get right to the edit. It's got a quick release antenna system, and it's $400, which seems nuts. They also have a larger version, the Pyro 7, and I'll have links down below to both of those. I think seems super cool for $400. Next, if you're a working professional photographer, you've probably heard the term studio management software, which I've always felt was a little confusing because it's not just for studios and it's not really software. But these are services that you get to manage things like invoicing, client communication, booking, gallery delivery, communication with emails and newsletters and that sort of stuff. And there's a handful of them out there. One of the more popular ones is Honeybook. So if you've ever heard of Honeybook, they do that. It's a CRM platform or a relationship management system. So it's not so much about studio management as it is about client relationship management. I've tried a handful of these platforms and I have honestly been sticking with Shootproof for years. I've used Shootproof for a long time. Their scheduling system is really nice and integrates with my calendar. Their invoicing system and templates are easy. Their galleries are simple and easy. Their print ordering system is easy. And the price is right if you don't have tens of thousands of photos that you're delivering at one time. But the news here is that Visco, who we just talked about a couple of weeks ago, who bought a kind of a photography business management platform, have launched their own studio management platform, their own CRM that they're calling Visco Workspace. And Workspace offers tools like online booking, invoicing, lead tracking, client messaging, dedicated client portals, pretty much everything what you expect from a studio management platform, a CRM for photographers. And so this is really in line with them purchasing, right, Studio Manager from Tave, the freelance photographer platform, and they're targeting photographers who are running everything from solo, individual gigs to large studios. Now, Visco says that Workspace is meant to grow with the user, providing business management features, but also educational resources and broader access to a creative community, which is actually something that Visco is known for. Now, photographers who are migrating from Tave can get free onboarding and a 30-minute training, while there is a free 30-day trial available for those wanting to try it out. And there's incentives like free workshops and all that sort of stuff. Details are on their site. I will link that down below. That's not an affiliate link. I'm not in any way associated with them. I just thought it was an interesting bit of news. Next, and still on the lens front, if you're looking for a lens upgrade and you're in the Nikon system, we've got some pretty substantial news, which is that Nikon has just unveiled their 24-70 f2.8S II, and they've addressed several long-standing requests from photographers and videographers alike with this model. Reported by a number of sites, the updated lens now features internal zoom construction, boosting dust and drip resistance, while shaving the weight down. The big kind of noted feature here though is focus speed. They're using a new Silky Swift VCM motor that delivers up to 5 times faster autofocus, with tracking performance improved 60% over the previous version. So not only is it faster, but it's better at tracking. Other refinements include a reduced filter thread size, 77 millimeters instead of 82, which is always nice. It has 11 aperture blades to give you that smooth, round, out of focus bokeh at 2.8. And it's got a closer focusing distance. You get really just right up in people's faces. The lens is also just a little bit longer and slimmer. But as with most things nowadays, this upgrade is going to come with a pretty hefty price tag. This lens is now listed at $27.99, which is about $1,000 more than its predecessor. Pre-orders are available at most major retailers, and again, I'll have links down below in the description if you're interested in checking it out. Last bit of news, but still on the lens front, Canon is potentially trying to outdo one of their best prime lenses. You know I love primes, you know I love shooting with primes, especially when I'm shooting portrait clients, and I love shooting fast primes, and I love shooting them wide open. But right now, Canon is working on an update to their RF 50mm f1.2. That lens launched not long after Canon announced the RF system, and they just recently published a new patent that reveals plans for a new 50mm with a 1.2 aperture, inner focus, and a short total length. Early details indicate that there's an effort here to create a lightweight design with improved autofocus and measures to reduce both coma flare and potentially adding rear aspherical elements. As I mentioned, the RF 50mm f1.2, the first one, launched in 2018 and has gained acclaim. It's a very popular lens for photographers, especially on the portrait and wedding side of things. It's sharp, it's fast, it's got great bokeh, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I took that lens out for a spin for about a week. I shot with it on both the R1 and the R5 Mark II, and it was fine. It was fine. That's all I could say. It was fine. I wasn't mega impressed. You can take my 85 1.4 from my cold dead hands. Now, there's no confirmed product release here, but the patent highlights that Canon's intent is to keep pushing boundaries and continue releasing fast primes. That's it for the camera news this week. If you want to support what I'm doing here, consider becoming a channel member. It's $1. And if you're looking to book a photo or video session, I've got all the details down below, including my free mini sessions, along with gear and deal lists, including everything that I use here to make my videos and what I use out in the field as a portrait photographer. Those links do help the channel, but as always, the easiest way to support what I'm doing here is to just hit like and subscribe. It's free, it's easy, and it goes a long way to helping me here on YouTube. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.